Over the past few months, I've been learning to use Nuke, and honestly, it's been one of the most eye-opening parts of my practice so far. I've always been drawn to animation and how different studios push what's visually possible, so learning Nuke felt like the next logical step, not just because it's an industry standard, but because it shows up in the pipelines of films that inspire me creatively. For me, one of the biggest influences has been Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The look of that film is the reason I wanted to understand compositing properly, and Nuke felt like the tool that could help me tap into that world. Before I even opened the software for the first time, I already knew that Spider-Verse wasn't just a normal animated film, it was a turning point. Over 150 animators were involved in the project, and around 800 people in total worked on it. It took 4 years to make, and just to put into perspective, it could take one artist an entire week to animate just 1 second of footage. They weren't just animating characters, they were basically inventing a whole new visual language. Instead of going for the visual polished 3D Disney Pixar style, they avoided that glossy slick look and deliberately leaned into something bolder. Something that looked like a comic book, but alive. And that brings me back to Nuke. The more I dug into how Spider-Verse achieved its look, the more I realised that compositing is where everything finally comes together. It's not just the final polish, it's where the image becomes the image. Nuke is used across the industry for exactly that reason, and if I want to build towards pipelines even remotely inspired by films like Spider-Verse, I need to understand how to compose it properly. So I threw myself into learning it. I've covered a lot of ground in Nuke so far. I learned the UI, how the viewer, timeline, dope sheet and curve editor work, basically how to navigate without getting lost. I now have a basic understanding of the channels, node trees and how to keyframe animation, which is huge because Nuke's whole workflow is built around node-based thinking. It honestly felt confusing at first. Once I started clicking, it all made sense. Seeing visuals built bit by bit as a flow rather than a stack is really satisfying. From there, I moved into actual compositing tools. I've learned how to build node trees, animate with keyframes, reformat and transform images, merge layers and passes, rotoscope, key with chroma keyer, track footage, and change clip timing. And that's just the 2D side. I also stepped into basic 3D compositing, using lights and cameras, applying materials and textures, and rendering 3D scenes. Nuke's 3D space was something I really wanted to figure out, specifically because of how modern animated films mix dimensions. It's one thing to animate something in Maya or Unreal Engine, but compositing gives me control over how it actually looks when it hits the frame. It's like being the final voice. So now that I've developed these skills in Nuke, the big question is what I actually want to do with them. The short answer is, I want to use them to shape the look of my own work. I'm especially interested in the possibility of using Nuke in my Cottonopolis project, either as a main tool for compositing, or even as a part of a hybrid workflow. I like the idea of taking everything I build and render elsewhere, then bring it into Nuke to stylize, create, light and finish in a way that feels more expressive and more in my control. At the same time, I don't want to ignore the tools I've already been exploring. Unreal Engine has its own strengths: real-time rendering, fast iteration, cinematic camera tools. So another option I'm considering is learning how to build a pipeline that connects Unreal Engine into Nuke. If I can find a way to pass scenes, passes or renders between them smoothly, then I could use Unreal for speed and Nuke for final image treatment. It feels like a workflow that gives me the best of both worlds. Unreal for building and animating, Nuke for compositing, colour and artistic finishing. That kind of hybrid workflow could help me push Cottonopolis visually in a way that feels more stylized and personal, rather than purely realistic or procedural. Basically, I want the technical skills I'm learning to open up possibilities not limit them. Whether I end up compositing shots fully in Nuke, or creating a bridge between Unreal and Nuke, or something in between, the goal is the same: to experiment, to stylize, and to make images that feel crafted rather than generic. I'm not trying to replicate Spider-Verse, but I'm trying to follow its mindset of experimenting, combining tools creatively, and using technology to support style rather than restrict it. Learning Nuke feels like a step toward that future. Now it's just about putting it into practice.